Hey y'all. Okay, I'm back with video number 3 in my process. So what I did was I pulled all the papers. Well, I finished the covers for now. There's still embellishing to do, and that's kind of the last thing I do. And what I've done now is I've pulled all the papers, and I've kind of gone through 3 different parts. You can't see this other one over here yet. I'm going to show you. But before I show you anything else, I have pulled all the papers. Then I've done some cutting here to cut the papers down. I have it folded, but then I've cut and folded papers for this one, and I'm going to show you sort of my process of how I decide on signatures, okay, how I split things up. So I thought I would just kind of do it in a 1, 2, 3 sort of thing rather than you have to sit here and, like I said, I can't take you around my room. It's kind of hard because I have papers in, many different places. Well, they're all sort of in the same place. They're in my closet. So, but I will say what I do is I go through my scrapbook paper, and then I pull whatever scrapbook paper out I'm going to use for each one. Then I go through my other pages like calligraphy paper, graph paper, music paper, wallpaper, whatever kind of paper, other papers I want to use. And then I go through my children's book pages, okay? And then I just I stack, okay, based on where I'm going with each journal. So like the yellow one is is eclectic. I mean, it's got a little girl and a little boy on the front. It can be used as a children's journal. It can be used as an everyday journal. Same thing with this one. And the same thing with the other 2, really. They can be used however you want to use them. They don't have to be specific to children. You can use it like an everyday, however you can use it for a summertime. However you want to use it, there's no rules, But I will say that I try to do like a mix of colors and things like that. I try to mix things up so where it is more eclectic, and they are eclectic. However, in this one, there are things that really look more boyish, okay? So, but to me, that doesn't matter. I like all kinds of colors, but there's more sort of that vibe in this one. And then this one is some of the papers that are a little more girly, but they can be used in any way. They don't have to be specific. Like I didn't put any baby papers. I didn't put anything like that. So for me, they're just an eclectic mix of things that I like and things that make me happy. And that's what I put in these journals that I sell. I try to make journals that I would want to use and the things that I like and I love. And if I don't love it, when I'm finished with it, it doesn't go in my shop. I have made things, let me tell you, I've made things, and I'm going off a little bit, but I've made things that I didn't like when I was finished with it. They don't go in the shop. They don't go in the shop until I feel like, it's something that I would want to use. Anyway, that's just kind of how I roll. So anyway, but before, here's one mistake that I make quite often, and it's not anything that can't be corrected. It just makes it a little more difficult. So if you're gonna add a charm, okay, like the charms that I added on my book and the other book, then you need to go ahead before you sew in your signatures and go ahead and poke your hole and put your eyelet in here. So I've already put it on the other 2 covers, but I thought I would show you. So I kind of measure, so this is 2.5 inch, so it's like, 1 1/4 in the middle, okay? And I made a little mark, and then I take my Crop-A-Dile. So this is if you're not familiar with this tool, this is a We Are Memory Keepers Crop-A-Dile, and it has 2 different sizes of hole punch. So this is a smaller one, and I don't know exactly what size they are. It tells you on here, but anyway, I used the larger one, which is the size for these. Oh, I've been doing good not hitting that. Sorry. Which is the size for these eyelets. These are also We Are Memory Keepers 3/16 of an inch eyelets. And then you can buy the ones too that aren't as wide. I have some of those too, but this is what I like to use where I put my charms, okay? So I'm going to use the larger hole, and I'm going to punch my hole. And this will punch through thicker things as well. I do have the big one that they call, oh my gosh, the Big Bite. I have that one as well. And that one will punch through really thick stuff. But this one actually will punch through chipboard and things too. So now I already have this set up. To set my eyelets. So I'm going to come in here. This is kind of hard to do, and I'm going to set it. Okay. So there is my eyelet for my charm. So don't make the mistake that I make and forget that part and then sew in your signatures, because it can be done, but you have to kind of shift. It depends on how many signatures you have in here, and it just makes it more difficult to get this in here to set the eyelet, but it can be done. I've done it. So don't stress too much if you do forget, especially with this that's very, very pliable. And you can move the pages out of the way, so forth, so on. But that's just a tip. Don't forget that part. And you don't have to use this as a charm. There are other things that you can use. Tim Holtz makes those little, it's almost like a brad that's got a loop on the outside, so you can poke a hole and put a brad in there. But you probably want to do that before you put your fabric. Unless you want that brad showing, or you could also just kind of patch it in there. There's so many ways to do this stuff, and there's so many other videos, y'all, on processes and journal making and junk journals and making stuff totally from scratch. You can make these using cracker boxes. I've made a ton of journals using Ritz cracker boxes. Same concepts, collage, fabric, paint. I've done my snowman journals from the cracker boxes, and the texture of those is similar. It's just not as pliable as this. This is just like leather. It just feels like butter to me. I love this. I love the way these are turning out. Okay, so enough rambling on that. So I'll go through. Okay, so I'll go through my kids' pages, and I've been hoarding these, y'all, but I'm going to put some of these in these journals just because I love them. These are those it's a large Eloise Wilkins season book. Look at that. I just love her illustrations. So I'll go through, and I picked out, kids' book pages that I thought I might want to use, okay? And I have a ton of kids' books. I don't try to put everything in every book. Well, sometimes I try, but it doesn't always work. But anyway, I go pick my, kids' book pages. I did go back and grab a piece of ledger because I had forgotten to put that in there. And then these are the last few pages for these journals that I have these little practice vintage kids' book pages, little practice educational things. What do you call those things? Anyway, school books. So more kids' book pages. Here's some really old ones. Jessica sent me some of these. There's Babar. And then here's these are a couple of that writing paper that I just recently picked up, that book full of that. I don't know that I'll put these in signatures. I may fold them over, smaller and do smaller pages. Hadn't decided yet. So wallpaper. This is some of that, and I've got to cut it. It's just a piece folded up. This is some of that paper that I love. I put it in several of my journals. This came from Phaedra. It's similar to wallpaper, but it's called stone paper. So it just has this really nice buttery texture. So that's going to go in there. And then there's a couple of other book pages that I've pulled out. And I'm pretty sure the majority of this will go in this Books and Dictionary. There's some gift wrap. And then I pulled out this is like a resume paper, really nice linen paper. And then this is something that I only have a few pieces of, but I put it in the other journal, and I forgot to put a piece of it in mine. But this is like a vellum, only it's a graph paper, which I thought would be fun to try. Probably have to use some kind of slick writer to write on this. But I thought it would be a fun element, something fun to maybe do something different with that in the journal. Some old ledger, piece of vellum, some more calligraphy paper. This is a linen paper. This came from Phaedra. This is a really pretty paper. I forgot I had it. Some kids writing paper. Another really nice vintage graph paper. Cardstock. Okay, and then music. So I pulled some kids' music. And this is big. This is a big music, so this will go in this way. I'll fold it like this. And I already kind of know sort of my measurements, so because I've already folded some other paper. So that will go in like that, so it will be a flip out, you know. And then more music, vintage music. I'm putting one of these bags, one of these nice little bags in there, and it will be folded like this. These I recently purchased at a live sale. They're nice. They're like parchment paper, and then I'm going to cut this edge off and make that an opening. Some of my tea-dyed paper, and then this is scrapbook paper. This is gift wrap paper, Maggie Holmes gift wrap paper. These will be cut down and also folded in a little bit to fit. So there's those 3 pieces. And then this I had actually already cut this down. So I picked out the 12 by 12 papers. And then what I'm doing is going through and cutting these down at 8 3/4 inches because the height of the journal is 9 inches. So I'm cutting them to 8 3/4, and then I'm going to fold them. And when I fold them, I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches like that, because the book across is like 7 1/4. So I don't want it to be 1.25 inch gap between the paper and the edge of the journal. So I'm going to fold these papers this way, and then some of these I will extend. I will come back with these pieces and cut them down to 8 3/4 and fold them over and so I can make tabs on some of the pages to extend it, or I can just take other pieces and stitch a different piece to it to extend it, just straight like that. That works too. So that's that. And then here's the papers that I pulled, the scrapbook papers that I pulled. And when I'm doing this part, let me move this out of the way. So when I'm doing this part, I'm looking at these colors, okay? So I'm pulling, what I try to do is, while make it eclectic, I do try to keep sort of a color scheme going. So this is just my process. So this is really bright compared to this, okay? But it pulls colors from this image. So when I put the pages together, I'm not going to put this page next to this page, okay? I'm going to put this page next to something that's more neutral. So while you can have that other bright pop of color in there, it's not going to clash in the section of the journal with this. I hope that makes sense. Like I do pay very close attention to when I'm putting signatures together as the colors, page to page, what looks good next to one another and what doesn't. Okay, so just to give you an idea. And then this of course would look good against either one of those, in my opinion. So that's just how my brain. So I've pulled. For this, I want to keep this eclectic. I don't really want it boyish or girlish or, you know. So I pulled papers that, in my mind, are, so these are black and whites, you know, and these have the tones. These have the green tones and the teal tones. There's the green, so it picks up green in there. This is always a neutral color, but you can see it. See how it pulls the browns. More black and white. Of course, this fruit, the colors. So this is just kind of how, this is how I do this, okay? So that I don't end up, you know, putting, and I mean, you can see this is an eclectic mix because these are pages. Now, a lot of this is Maggie Holmes, so a lot of her papers will go together no matter what. Her color schemes, the way she does her stuff, is like that. So I think most of these are Maggie Holmes. This one is not. This is like a birthday paper, but I thought it was really cute and bright. So I threw another, but see, it goes with these other colors. It's just a brighter paper, but I could put it next to that and it would be fine, you know. I could put it next to that and it would be fine. So that's how I do that. That's how I pick my papers, okay? And I noticed in my video, I say okay a lot. Okay, y'all got it? Okay. It's kind of annoying. I apologize for that. I don't even realize I'm doing it. So I picked the papers for this one. I haven't folded everything yet, so that's the next step. Or I haven't cut. So now here for this one, I have cut. So I have cut the papers and I've folded the kids. Okay. I've folded some of these. So I have the same sort of mix of papers for this one. But I pulled, like, this is from a vintage book. It's called Peter something. So this is more sort of boyish, but it's got the florals and stuff in there too, so it can really, you know, just eclectic. But I did pick some things that are a little more geared towards boys. So I folded all of these pages. And I've cut, so I've got the same type of papers in here. So the calligraphy, the tea dye, the linen, not calligraphy, resume paper, the vellum. So I have the same, all these are the same elements. Now there's a couple of more, I did do some black cardstock in this one and some green. So, you know, some of the colors will be a little bit different. Okay? I keep doing that. I'm cracking myself up. So I did put a floral, but see how it's got the blue? But it is a floral, but it's not a, you know, pinkish, you know, kind of floral, you know. So here's another floral, but look at the colors. So it's got the blues and the greens, and then the polka dot. And here is a brighter color paper. This came from my boy line paper. This is the Echo Park, and I'm not sure the name of it. Same birthday paper. Same birthday paper. So you can see the papers in here do lend themselves to be a little more masculine, or a little more, I wouldn't say masculine, boyish, but eclectic enough to me that it's not all boy. But I think this really would be a cute book if you're documenting, you know, a boy's life. But it would also be cute if, you know, you have more than one kid. You can always add, if you have a boy and a girl, you can always add other pinks and other girly things to it, you know. Okay, so that's sort of the second step. And then, so for this one, and you can see it's a little more girly, so I've cut everything down. These I will use for pockets, and these I'll probably use for tabs. And these pages I'm probably going to stitch in, which I'll do with some of the other ones. So now at this point, I've separated my pages. So I have my kids' pages. I'll set this aside. So I have my kids' pages. I have the, I'm going to do 5 signatures. So I have my 5 pages that are going to be the first pages in my signatures. I do that first. Once I get everything cut and folded, I decide what's going to be my, you know, front page and what's going to be my middle, you know, my front pages for each one of my signatures. And then I have more scrapbook paper and cardstock that I'm going to make a stack of that. And then I have the music. I have music paper and the bag. And then I have the other types of paper. Like I have some wallpaper, the grid, you know, all the other types of paper in a stack. Okay? Okay? So this is kind of how I do this. So I usually have about 4 or 5 stacks of different types of paper. And now I have already decided that this is going to be my front page, and this is going to be my back page. So I would not put, now this is just me, I would not put this, even though that's pretty, okay, for me, that's too much when you open the book. And that's just how my brain, like it's just too much, okay? For me, it's too busy for me. My eye needs to rest. It needs, you know, busy versus a little not so busy. I hope that makes sense. And that's what I do. So I'll take this page, and then I'll say, okay, where do I want to go next? Do I want to start with some music, or do I want to start with, so we got not so busy, and then I really love this floral, so I think I'm going to go with that next. This is some of that Maggie Holmes paper. And then I might do a solid. So let's say I've got some solid. I've got this solid pink in here. So I think I'm going to do that solid. And then I'm going to come in with maybe, well, no, let's do a kid's book page. So let's go through here and let's see. Do I want to start with, okay, maybe a dictionary page. Now, sometimes I will leave this. I think that's kind of cool. And do I want to do it this way? I don't spend too much time on this, but let's see. Do I want to put it this way? So I really like, this at the top. And then I like, for some reason, this right here, these colors look really good to me. Like it's just pleasing to the eye. So you get that yellow green, kind of darkish, almost purple to pink. Okay. That's what I look at when I'm doing this stuff. Okay. I'm so sorry, y'all. Oh, I just don't really even realize I'm doing that. Now I'm fully aware of it, so I'm gonna make fun of myself. So let's go. Let's put some tea-dyed paper, and then, all right. So I've got a bunch of. I've already put some cardstock in there. So I also think about. I have put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other pieces of scrapbook paper. Let's put that with the plain over there. Well, 6, 7, and then I've got more cardstock. So there's 4 of those. So I need to put the cardstock, each one of these cardstocks in each signature. Okay, so I have 5 signatures. That's how my mind works. So I've got 1 scrapbook paper, 1 cardstock. I want to put one of these in here. So I've already got pink. Let's put this green in here. And for this, I'm going to turn this one over this way. And then I've got this white space here, but I can put a pocket here. This gives me room to put a tab here. You know, just think about stuff like that as you're putting it together. And then I don't want everything. So if I've got different size pages, like I don't want to put, and I'll do this sometimes and it really doesn't matter. Like in the yellow book, there are some pages that are really close in size like that. That doesn't bother me either because you can always extend the pages, but I do try to do this. I try to do it like that and alternate how they're lining up. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I think I'm going to put this music. I'm going to put this music here. And then another. So I've got quite a bit of paper here. So these are going to be, this is going to have a lot of paper in it. I've already used one of those in this signature. And I want to use this. So I think what I'm going to do in this signature is I'm going to put this in the middle, but I want something else in between it. So let's go with this. Okay, so now that's one signature. Okay, and then that will be the middle. All right. And then I'm going to start with this one. And let's see what. Let's put this music next. And let's do a solid. Let's maybe put the red. And I'm probably going to have to fold that in as well. Put the red there. And then that music. That music that far. Let's see. Okay, don't do that. Let's put this pink here. And then we can come in with another. So I put one of these in the first signature. So I'm going to put that maybe in the third signature. So I'm going to come through here and pick out one of these. Let's put. I might put that in the middle. So let's put the bunnies here. And then I'll put that. with another piece of cardstock. So that's 8 pages. And then here, what I can do is extend this page with one of the cutoffs from the other pages, which is probably what I'll do. So we'll start with that as a second signature. And I don't make every signature like exactly the same size. Let's put the little bag here. Oh, I gotta cut that. Hang on 2 seconds, I'll be right back. We're going to put the bag right here. I just cut the very end of that off. And then I think, let's put, I like this paper. This is a, I think this is a Cartabella paper. If you're interested, if you want to know, let me know. I'll have to look it up. And I'm going to put this and what neutrals do I have? I need to make sure I've got enough neutral. Let's put the and let's put this one in here. Let's put this in here. And then maybe, yeah, I don't like that. Let's put the dark up against that. And then I think this is cute for the middle of this signature. So this is how I do this. Now, when I get down to the when I get done, if I have pages left, I'm going to go back through the signatures and see where I want to fill those other ones in. I just try to make sure I get a good mix of everything going. Okay, let's do some ledger here. And see, I completely forgot about this cardstock. I'll go back and fill that in. And then let's put another, let's put this. And then there's some orange. There's some orange in that, so I'm gonna put that there. And then let's put, I love this Cinderella. Let's put that there. And I have this. But I want something a little more plain, so I'm gonna put this. Right there. And maybe. Okay. It's going to be a little bit of a long video. Okay, so I have one signature left, and I have a lot. I mean, I have a lot of papers left. So let's see. Let's put this one here, and then let's do the big music. I want that side by side. Let's do the pink, and then music. Something neutral in between there, so let's put this. Let's see. There. Some cardstock. Let's put this here. And then there are some times where I may not end up using everything that I've pulled out. And then I'll just stick it in with the journal for you to use it like you want. Let's put that. Okay, so this signature has, okay. So these pages didn't make it in, and that's okay. I may just, so that's four, that's 4 pages didn't make it in. So what I may do is just add it to the extras. And then, so those are the signatures. Oh, that's stuff on my desk here. I need to clean this off. Yeah. So there's the signatures. So the next thing, oops, sorry. So the next thing will be to go in and extend, like let's say if I want to extend these pages, like I don't mind the way this looks, okay? I don't like this look. So I will probably take one of these that are the offcuts and find something that I like. Now that really looks pretty with that, but it's also the same paper as this, so I try not to do that. Like this one would probably, this is probably the one I'll go with, and I'll extend this page, and I'll go through and do that for some of the pages, and then I'll make pockets and tucks and things like that with that stuff. And I'll decide where I want to put, like where I want to stitch these pages in at. So I'll go through and clip those in and then go to the sewing machine, and stitch things down that I want to stitch down. And then I'll come back. And I'll bind the journal. And this will be the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I did have somebody ask me to show some different binding techniques besides the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And I honestly, I typically use the 3-hole or the 5-hole pamphlet stitch. I don't really know. I mean, I know of other ways of binding. You can poke holes and do ring bound, or you can tie, poke holes and tie with string. There's a lot of different ways you can bind journals. You can go, you can search a book binding, and I do know that there is a channel, and I think her name is Sea Lemon. I think she does what they call the Coptic stitch, and some other fun stitches of ways of binding your journals. I just typically use the simple way for my type of journals. I'm not making just art journals. So I think it's called the Coptic stitch, where you fold pages over, you stitch along the edges of the pages, to bind things together, which is more like a, I've seen more for like art journals using watercolor paper and mixed media paper and stuff like that. But, yeah, I would check out Sea Lemon, and I would also check out, just search bookbinding techniques, stuff like that. And then I also had somebody ask me about my charms that I put on the books. And I will say that I purchased a PDF charm tutorial from Johanna Clough a couple of years ago. And one of the stipulations of that is that you cannot share her process. So I use, you know, the basics of her process on how she ties her threads to the journal and stuff like that. So I can't, because I purchased that, I can't show you how to do it. You can go purchase her PDF. I think it's like $15, which is not bad. But there are a lot of other people that also have charm tutorials. I can do a tassel tutorial, but there's so many there, which is a little bit different way of making making a charm. I can do that. The Paper Outpost has a lot of different ways of making journal charms and paper clips and using buttons and beads and junk jewelry and all kinds of stuff. She has a ton of videos. And Jessica Rapp has a great tassel. It's the older video. You'd have to go back and search her channel, Jessica Rapp, Two Silver Oranges. She has a ton of videos. She has a ton of videos, lots of inspiration. But she has some tassel making videos. But you can use any of that and, kind of figure out, how to make different types of book charms. There's so many different ways to do it. Anyway, I apologize. I can't, go through the whole process with you because I use her technique. So anyway, okay, so that is picking the pages and cutting the pages and folding the pages and prepping the signatures. So the next step will be to get in my sewing machine and add whatever kind of sewing I want to do before I bind the pages. And then I guess I can come back and show you. I'll come back and bind one of the books. And then later on go through some of the embellishing, how I go through the embellishing process. Anyway, I hope you find this helpful, and I hope it wasn't too boring. And but that's kind of the way I do it, and that's my process. Anyway, love you guys, and I will come back and do some little tutorials. Well, not tutorials, but my process on making some tags and tucks and things like that. You guys did say you wanted to see some of that, so I will. And if you have any other questions for me, just let me know. Love you. See you soon. Bye.